The scene is the spaceship's out there. Tommy is rolling, shooting at the spaceship, and the laser hits are going off all around him. So you got your hits to set, your charges in the ground, and then later you're going to optically print in the green lasers. Right.
Don Dohler has literally turned his backyard into a movie set. For the past 8 months, he's been working on his latest science fiction thriller called Nightbeast. Along with 30 or 40 other people, Don is heading up this production crew, which works totally on points, or a percentage of the profit which the movie may or may not make. The movie, called Nightbeast, has all the horror and excitement that Hollywood could ever dream up.
Essentially, it's about this lunatic alien who escapes his galaxy through a time warp, comes down to Earth, crash lands, and coincidentally is in an area where these 5 people are going for a getaway weekend, and consequently the beast terrorizes the people in the house. So, and the subplot is we have a group of hunters who are also in the area who also get terrorized by the beast. Finally, after everybody's killed, the one guy who was the survivor is so incensed that his wife has been murdered, his friends have been murdered, that he goes out and does battle with the beast. So the climactic ending of the film is the human pitted against the alien.
No science fiction thriller would be worth its salt if it wouldn't be for a little blood and gore. Enter Mark Supensky, who's responsible for making the hunter look as though he has had a close call with the Nightbeast.
What happened before what you're about to see is that he was being pursued by the title creature in the film. And the creature, as you can see, had gotten a hold of him at one point. And when he was running away, the creature was firing at him. And so that explains the wound on his face.
In this scene, though, the hunter is going to have a relatively easy time of it, but only because the scene is carefully planned and timed.
The hunters have seen this weird green glow through the trees, and they decide they're going to go out and find out what it is. And what it is the spacecraft that has crashed, the Nightbeast spacecraft. When they approach the ship, a sort of a protective device comes out of the ship. Some kind of disintegration device starts firing laser rays at the hunters. And 2 of them are zapped, and then the 3rd one is rolling all over the place trying to avoid the rays, and he's firing his shotgun at the device.
Special effects play a huge part in a science fiction thriller like Nightbeast, and nothing can be left to chance.
The scene is there's a spaceship out there, and it just killed 2 of your buddies. And it's firing laser hits all around you, and you're trying to avoid them. And you're trying to hit the mechanism that's firing at you.
Okay.
So I want you to step into the scene, take 1 shot, hit the ground, roll once, take another shot, and then roll out of the scene. Okay. And these hits are going to be going off all around you. Don't worry, because he's got them controlled.
David Donahoe is in charge of placing the pyrotechnics, 8 explosive charges which will simulate laser hits from the alien spacecraft. The miniature explosives are set off from this box. All the charges are carefully measured, and their effect is carefully calculated. It's something that amateurs should not be fooling around with. Once the small charges are set, here's what happens. There are 8 of these planted around the yard.
It's going to go over 1, over 2, 3 is going to hit in front of him, 4 is going off on that side, 5 is behind him, 6 is in the tree, 2 stringers, 7 and 8.
We're going to cover all that in one shot, is that right?
Yeah, it should be 1, 2, 3 right as they go along. I'll just time him as he passes over and give the splash, and he'll exit out that side there.
And here's what the scene looks like in rehearsal.
Scene 18, shot take 1.
Action.
By adding a close-up shot of the hunter, the scene takes on more intensity. Then Don is going to add sound effects to make the blanks in the shotgun sound like they're real shots, and to make the lasers sound like they're really coming from a spaceship. Add a little music to give the scene excitement. And finally, the scene's going to be shot at night, which adds even more suspense.
Scene 18, shot 7, take 1.
Action! Harry, get down!
Now, the scene you just saw in the movie only lasts a few seconds, but Don and his crew have spent hours in staging special effects and editing, and all on a shoestring budget.
We have about 35, 40 people, crew and cast, who want to make films. They like making films. They enjoy it. Some as a hobby, some would like to do it professionally. So when you're not in Hollywood, the only way to make films is to get people together who want to do this kind of thing and make films. And we did find an executive producer, a fellow named Charles Taylor, who was a local businessman, and he has put up the funds for Nightbeast.
You know, I imagine you get a lot of criticism about the fact that it's a low-budget film, that it's kind of a B movie, that it's a movie that you might look at on a rainy Saturday afternoon. How do you react to that?
That's true, but I think this one's a notch above that because of the scope and talent of the people we have working on this. Due to the fact that I've made a film once, which is definitely a B film, there's no two ways about it. The fact that it was done and people saw that I did it, we brought talent into this film who feel that this one can really be good, possibly a network kind of a film. We don't have any named stars yet, but I think the scope of the production will be such that it could be aired network.
So you're hoping that this one is a B+ or even an A+ type of movie?
Yeah, I think it will be a B+, at least.
Something which Don hopes will give the film good grades is the Nightbeast itself, a rather unpleasant-looking creature which is not only in search of his prey, but also, it would seem, in search of a good dentist.
How you doing in there?
I'm fine. Is there air conditioning in here?
The Beast is played by various of the cast because being a monster is pretty hot work. In the final version, the Nightbeast is going to be seen mostly at night. Scary enough for even the bravest of science fiction buffs.
Do you find that there's a problem with kids watching this, that there's so much violence in it that parents maybe should not let their children watch a movie that is this violent?
The first film was a good kid film. There was very little violence, and the violence was done in such a way that it was more excitement, and the kids loved it. You know, the good guys and the bad guys. This film may be a little bit more disturbing because it's a lot more for shock value. There's going to be a lot more scares in this film. And this may not be the ideal film for children, but I don't think it's going to be aimed at children. Even though it's being made for TV, it'll end up on a late-night type of market, you know, late-night late shows or late-night network stuff. But it's certainly not going to be any worse than a Starsky and Hutch type of thing with all the violence and people blowing away people with guns. So I think people can accept the fact this alien has come down and he's a lunatic and he's killing people. And people versus animals or versus aliens is not quite as bad as people killing people. At least in my opinion, it's not.
Now, we also want to mention that the person who actually shot the piece that you saw is Kurt Kalaya, who spent many, many hours at an editing bench putting in all those little sound effects and gunshots and some of the music and so forth.
Looked good when it got out of there.
Really?